Data Security and Multi-Factor Authentication, presented by Matt Bell, Sufi Noor, and Rochelle Simon. We all use cloud computing on a daily basis. With all the data that we put on the web, we all have that same vital question. What security measures are in place at the data centers to keep my data secure? The CIA Triad of Information Security implements security using 3 key areas. Confidentiality. This ensures that the data is accessed only by authorized users. Integrity. This ensures the data is not changed by an unauthorized user. And availability, which makes sure data will be available to users at all times. This is an integral piece of security systems that are in place for data protection. Another question we have is, who can access my data? This leads us to another concept in information security, AAA. Authentication, verifying the identity of a user logging onto a network, using passwords, digital certificates, smart cards, and biometrics to prove the identity of the user to the network. Authorization, granting the ability to access resources or use an application without requiring that the authenticated state be passed across the websites. And accounting, a security audit to measure how well a system conforms to a set of established criteria to ensure security protocols are properly in place and followed. There is a more secure method of authentication, which is called multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication requires more than one form of authentication to verify the legitimacy of a transaction. This ensures that the user is who they claim to be. Multi-factor authentication combines 2 or more independent credentials: what the user knows, what the user has, what the user is, where the user is, and what the user does. We will explain these further in the following slides. What the user knows. This can be a password, which is the most common use of authentication, a PIN number, this is most commonly used with ATM cards, or a pattern, which is mostly used on touchscreen phones. What the user has. This can be a smart card, which is like a credit card with an embedded microprocessor that securely stores secrets, such as cryptographic keys. This can also be USB hardware or software. One-time password tokens are small devices with a display that generate a periodically changing code. Authentication requires entry of that code, so the user must be in possession of the token. Another way of doing this is with a phone, by having a temporary code sent to the user's phone. What the user does. An emerging authentication mechanism is risk analysis. Risk analysis focuses on the characteristics of the event by searching for suspicious patterns. Examples of questions that drive a risk analysis include: what device is being used? Has this user used this device in the past? Has this device been used to commit fraud? Where is the user located? What time is it? Are these patterns consistent with past usage? Has the user moved physically in an impossible way? Is the transaction typical for the user? Is the user executing an unusual number of transactions? Is the handwriting different than usual? Is the typing technique typical? This is based on speed and tempo. Risk analysis is popular because it layers with other authentication mechanisms and is invisible to the user. The result of the risk analysis must be acted on according to the organizational policy. For example, transactions scored as very risky might be blocked. Moderate risks might trigger additional authentication, such as asking the user a security question. Where the user is. This uses geographic locating using GPS tracking and IP addresses to determine the user's location. If it is an unusual location, use will be blocked until a security question or another method of authentication is provided. What the user is. This is biometric authentication, using fingerprint, iris, or voice prints which cannot be changed, and combining them with another method of authentication. In conclusion, multi-factor authentication acts as a deterrent for hackers, as it causes them to have a harder time abusing computer skills. It also ensures our data security so that we can rest assured that our data is more secure than it was before.